So why won't lockdowns work? Because here's an example.
We're going to the Botanic Gradina,
Beautiful out here.
which means botanical gardens. Yeah, I can only do so much city, you know, city limits for a while, and then you just kind of wears you out mentally. I mean, you need some nature.
And I'm not saying that lockdowns won't help at all in any way. I'm not saying that they won't make a trickle of a difference or any difference at all. But just let me illustrate with an example. Just this morning I went to the store and there's a security guard there stopping people from entering the store. And the idea is that only so many people are going to be in the store, you know, at one time. And then of course people in line are keeping their distance a little bit, you know, maybe about 6 feet more than normal. And so these all are great sounding things until we're going to the register and the cashier has a really hoarse cough. She doesn't even have a mask on. So I'm not sick. Maybe nobody in line is sick. Maybe people are spaced perfectly apart and there's not too many people in the store, but the cashier is sick. So she's coughing, doesn't have the understanding not to cough towards people. So I'm standing there waiting in line and she just coughs basically in my face, and she has no understanding whatsoever. You know, what do you do in situations like that? You know, I mean, these lockdowns aren't preventing it. Education is what's necessary. People need to be educated. You don't cough in people's faces. You know, you turn down and cough or whatever. And, you know, employers, people need to be educated. If your workers are sick, they need to stay home, you know, because when they go to work and they're sick, they could be putting everyone at risk. So locking down isn't the real answer here. The real answer is not to panic, use your head and think. People that are sick are the ones that need to stay home. It's always been that way, always, and it's never going to change, okay?
Benefits of enjoying the outdoors. This is the botanical gardens. We did find it. We're gonna enjoy a pre-spring day. Botaniceska Gradina, that's how you say botanical gardens, and it's right on the map. Yeah, it probably says botanical gardens, but who knows? Mountain shot right here. Pretty nice mountain there. And then just to show you here that we're on the outskirts of the city right there in this botanical garden. This mountain view is getting more and more beautiful as we walk. Yeah, we're just not even spring yet, so we're not expecting to be wowed by lots of botanicals, but just being out in nature, away from that, a little bit further from just the cement jungle kind of feeling, you know, it's kind of nice. So you can see that it is a real botanical garden. It's just kind of dormant at the moment. The picture shows a lot of pretty flowers on that, normally like in the spring. Not quite here yet, but on its way. You can see the cityscape or city line a little bit better from here.
The second example, I go out of the store and go, you know, a couple doors down to another store to do something else. The lady is right there. She's not sick. I get as close as I want. I'm 2 feet from her. Nobody cares. She's not coughing. I'm not coughing. Nobody's sick. She's in business. She didn't shut down the store just because of panic and fear. There she is making sales, and bada bing, bada boom. You know, these are two perfect examples that illustrate, you know, because things are shutting down around here. Nobody's stocking the shelves. The mall's shut down. You know, I mean, just craziness everywhere. Come on, people. If there are really crazy regulations, like turning airplanes back from the sky, depending on where they're from. Now, if they were from Wuhan, China, yeah, I'd do that too. But I imagine it wasn't from there because, you know, I doubt they would have been able to take off to begin with. But yeah, you know, just those two examples hit home for me today, just in one morning. Just within the first hour of the day, those two things happened. And these are things I've been thinking about all along. Then I go out this morning and boom, you know, it happens just like that.
Okay, honey, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about the people that aren't showing any symptoms but have the virus, but they aren't showing any symptoms? What do you say about that?
My point here wasn't that this is going to be a panacea and it's going to cover everything. I'm just saying that a lot of the things that are being done are extreme to the point where they're not really helping.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. Everything was in place. The security guard was there holding people back. People were keeping their distance. There's very few people in the store, and yet we come up to the register and she coughs in everybody's face and doesn't even have a mask.
I know. Let's just say she doesn't have coronavirus.
But she did have a hoarse cough.
I know.
So she's,
I know. I'm not discounting anything you're saying.
I don't even have a hoarse cough.
This is. We have to do this for the disclaimer, hon. Let's say she doesn't have the coronavirus. Let's just say she has a flu, the cold flu. You know, it's seasonal. It's this time of year. Everybody has the flu. Do you realize how much more weaker your immune system's going to be because somebody with the flu is coughing on you while they're at work?
That's exactly the point. Nobody wants anybody that's sick. You shouldn't have anybody that's sick at any time, whether there's a coronavirus or not.
Exactly.
This is education where people need to understand what they're doing when they are sick and they cough in people's faces when they aren't in a position of serving the public, especially.
Exactly.
That was my whole point.
Yeah, I wish I knew what this was. It's a kind of a elderberry look-alike. For all I know, though, it could be an elderberry, but I'm not going to take a chance. But elderberry is a really good thing to be taking right now. Even so, I'm going to leave these alone. Yeah, I used to have elderberry trees in my 3.5 acre yard, and I used to eat them every spring whenever they came out. Nobody ate them, but me. I went to the tree and ate them. They're good for you.
I mean, as far as the economy and all that, the economy is going to get hurt way more if you just lock everything down than if you sit here and hesitate because you don't want to send 1 or 2 employees home with paid leave. You know, with paid leave, they can go home with paid leave, sick leave, whatever, and you know that's going to just be a smaller dent in the economy than, you know, locking everything down. I mean, think about what that does to an economy. So the economy would fare a lot better if you just sent home the few people, because it is a minority, that are sick rather than shut everybody down. But anyway, I'm not attempting to appear as someone that has all of the answers, but it just seems to me that some of these things clearly, just by observing, you know, what's happening, you know, today, what happened today, this morning, just as an observation, it occurs that this is making no sense.
We do botanical gardens just about everywhere we go in the world. But it reminds me, it's nothing like the botanical gardens we used to do all the time when we were in the Rio Grande Valley. Over there, the Brownville, Harlingen, McAllen area, which is the most southern tip of Texas, where a lot of the winter Texans like to go, the retirees in their motorhomes. And you had to watch out because there were alligators. There were ponds, or little resacas as they call them, and there were actual alligators that they were posing as floating sticks, but they would crawl out of the water, and you had to get the heck out of there because
the Texans know all about.
You know, because they were coming for you. You know, so you had to be really careful. I don't think there's anything like that here. By the way, we saw a huge saltwater alligator right in the middle of Panama City, where the water goes into the ocean right there in the bay. There's like a canal that is emptying out right there in the city. And the thing was, I don't know how many, I think maybe 20-30 foot alligator. It was humongous. He was big. He was not one of these little ones. This guy wasn't starved. He's eating something. So, but
He was
yeah.
just like right there in the city too. It was so freaky. It was like one of those scary alligator movies where they eat people all the time. One of those movies.
Yeah. But in the botanical gardens in the tip of Texas there, the alligators were on the same level as you. In Panama City, we were up on the overpass and the water was going underneath. But, you know, in South Texas, they were on the same level as you. I might as well mention, if you're going to go down to that area, if you're close by or are interested in it, the Brownsville, Texas Zoo is, we've been to a lot of zoos, that one stands out. It is an amazingly huge zoo. It's like a Disneyland. You walk around outside forever and ever, and there's just all kinds of tropical animals, and they're kind of, you know, they're free out, you know, like the pink flamingos and things like that. A lot of them are, so it's not so cagey like a lot of the zoos are that are in more temperate climates and colder climate. So it's really, really nice to bring your kids. We used to bring our boys there all the time.
They loved it.
And it was just, we got like a yearly pass, and then you could just go whenever. It was that big. You could go multiple times and still not, you'd get so tired you wouldn't see it all on one go. So, well, just thought I'd give out a shout. I don't own the Brownsville, Texas zoo stock or anything like that.
We just like to tell our viewers the neat places that we've been that stand out to us, because when we talk about zoos, that one is memorable.
Yes, it's very much so.
So there you go. I just wanted to give you my personal experience, what happened today, what gives me insight through observation, and if there's any insight you achieved through personal observation and experience, not just from overthinking and over talking on forums and on social media, you know, just not from what you're reading other people say and what other people are saying in the news, just from your own personal experience, just as I've outlined for you today. If you have one of those experiences, feel free to put it in the comments.
Since we're motivated today, we're going to try to make that mountaintop. You knew I was joking, right? Yeah. This would be like a mild hike. It's all uphill. Let me turn around here. It's all uphill, so we can still breathe, so we don't have corona. I left the beers in the fridge, but so it occurs to me, Angie, we couldn't read the sign, so for all we know, there's bears out here and you're supposed to remain in your car. That's why it's so roadish. Did I put some fear into you yet?
No. I grew up in Idaho.
Well, I was, hiking around in Idaho. There's bears up there.
They used to come into our backyard and get into the garbage all the time.
Yeah.
The UK is taking a proactive approach by not really locking things down, just telling people to quarantine themselves if they're sick, and they're saying that at least 6 people out of 10 should get the virus. So when the next year, because the pandemic is going to come back, just like the flu comes back every season, the coronavirus is going to come back again next year at the same time. Oh no, here comes the coronavirus again. Everybody's going to start panicking, but the UK is taking a proactive approach and just telling people maybe you should get the coronavirus if you're young and healthy, and that way you won't be so affected next year and there won't be such a big panic, all these people panicking about a flu. Because that's what this is. It's just another flu, and it's flu season. 60% of people smoke in China and Indonesia. About 50% of the people smoke in Italy. This is one of the reasons why more men die from this, because men are more apt to be smokers too, I think.
coming from a different angle, that the UK has taken a different tack on all this. They said, well, look, if if people that are healthy should probably just go ahead and get the virus, and they're also asking people to quarantine themselves. So they're not taking draconian or huge measures to try to overcome something that you can't really do that, to try to overcome this thing. So
okay, you never know what surprise lies around the corner when you travel, including quarantines and all that, but sometimes it's weather, and you wouldn't know this is the weather by the way the Airbnbs are priced. The Airbnb is also having some issues.
thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Do thumbs up the video if you liked it. Sign up for the notification bell so you can know when our videos come out, and have a nice day.